Welcome into Mile High Territory. Ride Spilborghs, Troy Renck. Interesting weekend in St. Louis. We'll certainly get into some of the things that stood out. Jake McCarthy continues to rake. Might he win a batting title? We'll get into that. Continue to be real for him. To the of Michael Lorenzen, and then some injury updates. A couple things to note. Jose Quintana is getting closer, and then some updates on some current roster moves. Troy, how was your weekend?
It was great. Had a lot to get to. Got some family stuff coming up. Mowed the lawn. Walking Bentley the Bulldog every day. Broncos are in game week this week, so a lot of stuff going on. But this is a fun time of year. It's a fun time of year as all these sports kind of intersect between the end of the baseball season, college football, NFL. And at some point, Peyton Watson might actually sign a contract in the next 10 weeks or so. So a lot going on.
That would be very, very nice. All right. By the way, this weekend, Noah Khan performed at Coors Field, and from all accounts that I heard, it was amazing. So very cool for Noah Khan. He's had an incredible year with his new album coming out, and it was a cool backdrop to see a big concert at Coors Field. So, all right. So this weekend, the St. Louis Cardinals, Rockies historically have not played well in St. Louis. They lose on Friday night. They had a bunch of opportunities to win, could not get the big hit. And then on Saturday, they played better. They won on Saturday. TJ Rumfield, which we need to spend some time on a later podcast, really digging into his Rookie of the Year candidacy, because I think we're going to have to really ring that bell, because this weekend it was JJ Weatherholt versus TJ Rumfield, and I think when you walked away, you looked at JJ Weatherholt and you're like, that's a really damn good player, but he's not as good right now as TJ Rumfield. Rumfield's been very, very consistent. And then Jake McCarthy, first pitch of the game on Saturday, homer, hits a 2-run shot later on. He's basically hitting 500 in the month of August. He's I think he's the only qualified outfielder in Major League Baseball. Jake McCarthy for the Colorado Rockies with over a 300 batting average and over a 500 slug. I mean, that is ridiculous. The only other guy in baseball doing that right now is Jordan, and he's a DH. To give you an idea of how good Jake McCarthy has been.
And Jake, just as we come on here for our podcast, Jake just won NL Player of the Week. So no surprise. In that one game, he had 4 hits, 2 stolen bases, 2 home runs. He was like the second guy since 1920 to have a line like that, along with Shohei Ohtani. He's been a marvel. Again, could they have traded him to get stuff? Yeah, but if the trade wasn't there, and if they see him as part of the future, he's under control. He is the kind of player you need at Coors Field. Athletic, position. He can play multiple positions, and it looks like they've found a leadoff hitter. That's been an issue for years, since probably Charlie Blackmon, right? I mean, now you've got a guy that gives you some Charlie Blackmon vibes. Power at the top of the order. He runs probably even a little better than Charlie. And, he can play all 3 outfield positions. So McCarthy showed out, Rumfield showed out, and the pitching showed it's still a problem. I mean, this is welcome to the Rockies season. Until they start getting more innings up front, it's going to be hard for him, because that's one they could have stolen on Sunday. That was a series that was there for the stealing. And it just, again, they're just a few players short, and more specifically, a few arms short.
Yeah, I mean, the Rockies on the season, I believe that was their 18th series where there was a rubber match where they were even, and they're now 3-15 in the rubber matches. So, even if they were 500, you're looking at a completely different record. And so now, we spent our podcast on Friday about how, this team is going to look to avoid 100 losses. They're going to have to win some rubber matches, and they have a tough series beginning today against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who just won a series against the Dodgers, so they have to play better. But you brought up on Sunday, and the pitching has not been consistent. That's been the problem. That's why the Rockies can't, have a 5-game winning streak or a 10-game. They are not stringing together quality starts. And for Michael Lorenzen, he's really been struggling with pitches per inning, tempo. It was really hot on Sunday, very hot, humid. Even talked to Kyle Freeland on Saturday. Couldn't really land some of the pitches. Didn't have a good feel in the humidity. Lorenzen really was frustrated yesterday, and even his answers post game were super short. And so, I mean, you're getting close to this period in the baseball season, Troy, where I believe it's Friday is where you'll start seeing a bunch of prospects getting called up. I know a lot of people are saying, what about Zac Veen and what about Charlie Condon? I believe it's this Friday is when you're going to start seeing some rookies around the league, because that's kind of like the manipulation era where they can bring the guy up and then they don't get, they won't have a full year of service time. It's guaranteed that they can't. So that's where I think we might see some people. I'm not suggesting that Lorenzen comes out of the rotation, just because Jose Quintana is still not back, and like they didn't trade Sugano, so you kind of need to have an arm in that rotation. But they have to figure out what to do with Lorenzen. It might actually help them to move him to that long reliever for a little bit, because Tanner Gordon's been pitching really well. So I don't know what happens. I would expect if there would be a decision like that, it'd be made this week. And you'd see maybe Lorenzen go down to the pen for the long reliever. So, and use it as a leverage reliever, much like they used Antonio Senzatella. And Lorenzen's done that in his career many times. So it just feels like you're kind of at this, you're at a crossroads where you have to make a decision.
I know this is a busy time of year for many of you, including AJ. When you're home, you need everything to get done fast with quality.
Absolutely. That's why Factor meals are perfect for me. Ready in 2 minutes, healthy, pre-made, protein, all the things I like, vegetables, they're all mixed into one, and it's quick, easy, cleanup, done, boom, I'm full, move on to the next task.
No prep, no cleanup. Every week you'll find over 100 nutrient-dense menu items to choose from, and new options like salmon burgers, shredded pork, and much more. Plus, add-ons you'll crave like pumpkin-flavored cheesecake and protein shakes. Let's eat real. Head to factormeals.com/FAL50OFF and use code FAL50OFF to get 50% off and one free breakfast item per box for 1 year while supplies last until 10/31/26. That's code FAL50OFF at factormeals.com. FAL50OFF, factormeals.com. See website for more details.
Yeah, Michael's a good dude. He's very thoughtful, intellectual. He takes this craft very seriously. The problem is first pitch innings are killing him. I mean, these first innings are killing him. He leads or is second in the Major League Baseball in pitches thrown in the first inning. So he's running uphill. I mean, he's running uphill more than Kate Bush. I mean, just straight up, Stranger Things, my friend. And it's not strange because it's become predictable. These long first innings, giving up runs, and he's leaving these first innings, Billy, at like 25 to 35 pitches. So it's almost guaranteeing from after the first 3 outs, he's not going to go 5 innings. And they don't have the bullpen guys to cover that. They need him to get 6. I mean, and so when he gets 5, that's just another 3 outs this pen has to cover. That's not fair to the pen. And they got Lorenzen to do what Seguano's done. 8 innings, give him stability, and he's been inconsistent. Now, I watch his stuff. I know you asked him post-game about, you were kind of up in the zone. He's like, that was by design. That was game plan. Come on now. We're not pitching up in the zone at 93. He just doesn't have the finish. It looks like to me, when I see guys struggle in my 15 years of covering it on a daily basis, and I have a different vantage point than you as a player, and you guys are better than it, but you start noticing it with a starting pitcher when they can't finish at bats. And then they're just like, okay, I'm going to do a sinker. I'm going to try my changeup. I'm going to try my, and they just foul ball. And that's some of that speed variance isn't enough. Some of it's location. And he just struggles to finish at bats. And so, in a relief role, if his fastball then, jumps up, spikes to 96, now you finish at bats, and I don't know, but it's just not working right now. And, and it's again, a demotion for 2 weeks isn't the worst thing. And again, in his defense, he's filled this role before. And Michael's a very bright guy. He knows he hasn't. He hasn't lived up to expectations. I mean, I had to ask Mike Hampton and Denny Nagel how they got junked from a rotation, who were making a combined $175 million. So it happens to the best of them, or at least the highest paid. They expected him to do one thing. It hasn't worked out. Maybe he finished strong as in the Senzatella role. But to me, Spilly, when I watch him, He just can't finish off hitters. And it's not for a lack of pitches. He just can't finish off hitters.
Well, and I mean the thing is when you don't have true swing and miss, and he does have swing and miss with the changeup, but it's been a wildly inconsistent pitch for him. The velocity's been fine. I mean, he touched 96, 97, so it's not like the fastball velocity isn't there. It's just the carry through the zone, or non-competitive pitches. I mean, like the pitches
Right.
that were at the top of the zone were eye high, and you weren't getting any sort of chase. He's also been bitten. I mean, let's call it for what it is. Yesterday there was 2 opportunities for a double play. Both plays did not get turned. There's a ball hit off the end of the bat for an infield single. There was a fly ball lost in the sun that dropped. I mean, the defense has not helped him at all. But part of that is the pace. He's just moving slow. A lot of foul balls, and when you're playing in extreme heat, like St. Louis was this weekend, again, not making it an excuse. I'm not. But we tend to see defenses not be fine. They're usually not sharp. When you're standing out there for a while, you're hot, and then guys don't make plays. Happens all the time. And it's not specific to Lorenzen. It's specific to that Midwest baseball at this time of the year, August, the dog days, when it's hot, humid, and if the pace is slow, you usually see some bad baseball. I told you you'd see some brutal baseball in August. Like, it's part of it is the weather and just where the guys' minds are.
Yeah, it's hard to concentrate when you're just sweating it out there, and it's the old 10 seconds on, 35 seconds off, and you do that, and you get worn down by the heat, and your concentration wavers. But you're right about the defense, and I would be remiss not to mention he got bled to death a little bit. The defense didn't help him out, and even at the end of the game, to your point, and Carrick is he's a young kid, but I thought that fly ball at the end of the game was catchable in the 8th inning. Now it would have been, I don't want to say a great catch, it would have been a good catch. Corey Sullivan makes that catch. Maybe Steve Finley makes that catch. I think you make that catch. The route was off a little bit. And, that's the kind of play that when you get good and you're an 85 to 87 win, 88 win team, that's the kind of play you make. And then you go and you score a run and you win that game.
Yeah, Luis Lara made that play for the Brewers yesterday in right field.
Right.
Lara made
those are the separators.
Catching play, and Brewers ended up walking off the Twins right after that. So you're right. That's a great point.
I mean, those are the kind of plays that start separating you. The good news is they're in games, and I'm not giving out consolation prizes and Capri Suns and orange slices here, but they're in games. Anyone that watches this year can see this is a team in games. And then part of the reason, and I stole your line as I told you I was going to, about them avoiding 100 losses, but negative WAR, positive vibes. This team doesn't deserve to lose 100 games because of the way they compete. They're better than a 100-loss team, and that is damning praise. It's a left-handed compliment. But I texted with Josh Burns, the GM, about it last week, and he's like, "Yeah, we absolutely want to avoid 100. The stain of history would be there. There'd be the first team with 4 consecutive 100-loss seasons since the 65 Mets, 62 to 65. That was an expansion team. You don't want that on your resume, and this team doesn't look like that." These other Rockies teams the previous 3 years, they 100% deserved whatever fate brought them, especially last year. That wasn't even big league baseball. This team is close, but they got to pitch. I think they need to go down 17 and 27 the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And they got to survive this road trip. They got to steal a couple, because if they go winless the rest of this road trip, I don't know if they have enough. to avoid it then, because now the race is on, and you're gonna have have the old, okay, we went 1-7, boys. Let's come back to Coors and go 6-1. I mean, that's just no way to live.
No, but I mean, if there's any benefit, is that the Rockies have played the Diamondbacks better. Gabriel Hughes is on the mound tonight. Michael Soroka, great story. Guy that suffered 2 Achilles tears. Pitching much better for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are playing with some confidence. Diamondbacks can also eat your lunch if you mess around, because they're really well coached, play very clean baseball. They have Corbin Carroll. They have a bunch of guys that are good players. Ketel Marte is at 20 homers on the year. So they'll have their hands full, and then you play the Giants. This weekend. I want to point out Parker Mashinsky on Saturday got his first career win. Rockies had only had one lefty with Brendan Bernardino, so Parker Mashinsky, who is a non-roster invitee, got a win on Saturday, and then one pitch gave up 2 runs in the bottom in the 8th inning, less than 24 hours later, because Brendan Bernardino wasn't available for the Rockies. If you're curious why Mashinsky came in the next day, so.
You had talked about too. What do we got looking forward to on some roster moves here coming up? Because my inbox is getting flooded about Zac Veen and Condon, and I've got my thoughts on Condon. We'll probably save for another podcast. But specific to Veen, Condon, we know there's issues with, adding him to the roster, labor issues coming up. Like there's some issues that we get into it at a different time on a different podcast. I'm hoping to talk to Condon this week, do an interview with him this week, but. Veen there's nothing left for him to accomplish in AAA at this point offensively. Now I know his routes can be a little bit of an adventure as an outfielder. I saw it firsthand last year over 3 games in Oklahoma City. That was last year, but he was 5 for 5 the other night with 2 homers, double, triple. I mean, literally, you can't. That was the Shohei Ohtani type game. We had about 17 base. I mean, you can't have a better offensive game. He's got almost 30 homers, almost 90 RBIs. His swing rate, his swing decisions are good. All these things that we saw from Carrig, we're seeing with Veen. But I think you could probably explain it more. The way it was explained to me last night was, listen, Beck's up because it's a platoon. He's right-handed. There's just not at bats for a lefty right now. Spilly, is it that simple with McCarthy playing well, Moniak playing well? They just don't see at bats because, again, nothing against Tyler Freeman, and then you could talk more about that, but and Julian, but there's guys getting at bats. I'd rather see in somehow, some way, Veen getting some at bats here over the last 5 weeks.
Science experiment for the 1 minute we have to tell you about why we love Quince electrolytes, including watermelon salt, raspberry salt, and I'm holding a citrus salt. Just opened it. I'm going to pour some powder into my water, shake it up. And AJ, why do you love it?
I love Quince because after a long night out, a long day at the gym, a long walk in this Florida humidity, it tastes great and it gives me all the electrolytes I need. Why? Sugar-free, stevia-free, keto-approved, and tastes sweet because of that delicious fermented rice.
It does taste really good. I'm drinking it right now while we talk about it. It's also made in the USA, rigorously third-party tested. Give your body what it really needs to stay hydrated. Go to quince.com/foul for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/FOUL for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/foul. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
All right, so a couple things. Veen, I believe, was benched last week for not running hard on a ground ball. So still like some of the immaturity is still there.
Okay, and that's fair. That's fair. He's had that issue, folks. We want to be fair to this discussion. He had a lot of issues last year. Then on the offseason, he got sober. He's admitted this. He got sober. He had some substance abuse issues in his life, and it did lead to some issues in the clubhouse and with teammates last year. So I'm not aware of that. I did wonder, because character issues can follow you in baseball. Fair or not?
Yes.
And sometimes it takes longer than one season to prove to people they can trust you. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I think that's also part of what the Rockies wanted with Cole Carrig was to, he's a snapper, right? He throws his helmet a lot, breaks his bat a lot. He's just not a pro yet. He's not a full pro. And I think part of that with Zac Veen is making sure, hey, man, you can't do this stuff in the minor leagues and expect to get called up. I don't care what kind of number. You have to.
Okay.
You have to meet a couple check marks. But I can't wait to see Zac Veen. I love the kid. Just based on, if you know anything about him, he's the guy that you want to hug. Okay. The character, anybody, if you've been around him, you want him to do well, and you'll do anything in your power to help him. I will do anything in my power to help him. And I don't mind teaching somebody how to become a pro. That's not easy. You need to have a mentor. So that's okay. That I am not worried about that. The roster, though, prevents him from coming currently. That means you're moving on from Troy Johnston. And Troy's struggled the last month. He's been really trying to find hits. He's not finding hits. Troy's earned the opportunity to be on this roster. There's no question. Great personalities. He's a pinch hitter right now. We'll get those starts. He hasn't been playing as much because Jordan Beck is playing. But you're gonna have to move on from Troy, and that's a tough one. That's a tough one because he's an energy guy that brings this personality that the Rockies need. He's just a plus guy. So, for me, if I see a Veen here, it would have to be an injury to one of the left-handed batters. So if Troy got hurt, or Moniak got hurt, or Jake McCarthy got hurt, then I'd see Veen. But as far as like Veen pushing one of these guys off the roster right now is just not. It's not possible. It's not possible. It doesn't work.
Is it possible in September?
Yeah, I mean, I believe the roster does expand a little bit. It's not to 40 minutes.
You only get two call-ups.
Yeah, I think he would like that would make a lot of sense for him in September, unless there's an injury before. And speaking of injuries, we just got word a little bit earlier this afternoon that the Rockies will be calling up Connor Norby. Now, I don't know if I can give away what the injury is so far, but Connor Norby is on his way to join the roster.
Yeah, so that would suggest it's a utility guy, like a Tyler Freeman or somebody, because there's no way there would be a bats for him otherwise. And Norby, folks, he was obtained in the White Sox trade. Not the Doyle trade. That was the was that the Senzatella trade? I'm trying to remember. He was obtained in a trade he's a former utility guy who's bounced around, had one good year a few years ago, and he just hasn't hit. He can play everywhere. So maybe you see if you got something there, if he can hit. But he's a guy, because I know people are going to apples to apples, folks. You don't lose and bring up an outfielder, even for a team that's not playing, to get to the playoffs. It's just the roster still has to have balance. But Norby is a guy I know they like to think maybe he can recapture it and be that super utility type. I mean, those guys have real value. I mean, and Freeman's had real value. And, in my day, the Barmas became that player at different points. Terry Shumper, those kind of players have real value. But Norby's got to hit. I mean, that's just the reality of it. You got to hit. You used to say, I think you might have said it, or certainly guys that if you hit, you don't sit. Guys like you, when you don't play, every day, you got to hit. I mean, you can't be 190, and he just hasn't hit the last couple of years. But maybe coming to Colorado, new organization, fresh outlook. Hey,
you never know.
I don't.
And he's got a good personality. Like, again, he'll fit the Rockies clubhouse just fine. So that is the latest for us as we get you set up, and then later on this week, you and I on Friday, we will talk Charlie Condon. We'll get into just that demarcation line in the schedule of why teams waited to that spot. And we'll see, maybe Friday is the day that we do see Charlie Condon. I don't know that. I don't know that. So we'll see. But that will do it for you and I.
Yeah, I mean, that would be pleasant. And I'm going to leave you with this, because you're in Arizona where the D-backs just played the Dodgers. I watched almost that whole series. The Dodgers look old. They are aging in dog years. They're going to look like a Shar-Pei by the time they get to the playoffs. They are vulnerable. I'm telling you, folks, the evil empire is vulnerable. Mookie's vulnerable. Freddie's vulnerable. They look old. And Diaz, he better get some trumpets out, because they are vulnerable, folks.
It sounds like you're having the Dodgers your funeral right now. You're just so excited about it. All right, that'll do it for tonight. If you want to send us any of your comments, concerns, you can put it on the link below, and we'll look forward to catching up with you later on in the week. Thanks for listening, everybody.